What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this one will break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to talk about the data that just dropped that's very important for the markets, how this may affect us moving forward for many different tickers out there. Before breaking things down about all this information, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Webull link. The offer ends very soon. If you deposit any amounts of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. Anyways, now let's talk about the market, what's going on with everything. So in the pre-market, SPY is up about 0.32%, holding up quite nicely after we got the PPI and initial jobless claims report. Now, the data came out and ended up coming very, very mixed in a way. So PPI was good. It actually came down, not down, it was up like 0.1%, which is very close to the forecast. Core PPI month over month was very close to the forecast too at 0.1%. PPI year over year was 0.1%, which is actually lower than expected. And then core PPI year over year was lower than expected at 2.4%. This is once again helping the market hold up as of right now. However, we're also hit with some not so good data as initial jobless claims was at 237,000, so a little bit lower than expected. We actually saw this article come out right here from Bloomberg saying that the U.S. jobless claims dipped to about 237,000 as the labor markets remain resilient. So it's very mixed data. This would actually not be too good for the markets because it once again incentivizes the Fed to be hawkish as the jobs market is still showing some strength and the labor market is not really very, very weak right now. Now, to add on to this, I have some important things to note going into the market. Right now, the market has been on a very, very nice bullish looking uptrend. So this is very, very nice for them moving forward. And this does give the bulls an edge as they are starting to see more and more momentum shift in their favors. To add on to this, there's been some talk about how, Pepsi is raising its outlook and just a couple of things like this. I mean, Delta's setting the tone so far with earnings that just came out. Overall, they have been doing relatively well, raising its full year earnings guidance. That's another pretty good sign for the market. And for now, we're going to be watching some other very important things. So anyways, looking at the futures, they actually rose a bit with the inflationary data, and the market is looking quite optimistic heading into today. Now let's look at the structure on SPY. Well, we have a potential bullish triangle developing right over here as of right now. This suggests that the odds favor more upside. We're going to be looking for a move to potentially 450 from a technical standpoint. However, just like yesterday, the market pumped a bit. It continued to pump up to about this is like 447.5. It dipped a little bit, then it started to trade kind of like sideways. We might see something very similar today. So we might see SPY go for 448, a retest of that. And that's basically the high we made in the pre-market. And if we break that, we're going to be watching this thing shoot for 450. Now, resistance at 450 is going to be tough in the beginning. We will see if we could try to break this or not. My best prediction would be if we do break 448, we could see a move to about 450, a rejection off that, and some sideways price action as the day goes on. But just as a reminder, we also have a Fed speaker near the very end of the day, and there's not really much else coming out in terms of data. So it's just worth noting. Now, for Tesla, I think something similar is going to happen. Tesla may make an attempt to push for at least 275 or so again. We're currently at about 274 at the time I'm recording this. Now, I'm going to be watching, can Tesla try to base around here? Yesterday, Tesla was looking kind of weak when it made an attempt to break out. Today, Tesla has a better potential because the news is starting to become more positive. As we have another, I believe we have like an ATV coming out for Tesla that's going to look like the Cybertruck. So far, pretty decent stuff. It is holding above our 50 EMA. So I believe Tesla might get another pop when it opens. We could see this thing get very close to about 277.5 at the very least. I think it's going to try to pop during market open as it typically does, then drop right back down. We might see another sideways day for Tesla. I think Tesla's a little bit slow this week as we're lacking volume and we're not getting the same amount of very insane buying. But I just want to add that we're seeing some manipulation too, lots of shorting still going on Tesla, but I do believe Tesla's primed for more upside going into next week. Now, when it comes to Aapl, I see something similar happening. It's going to likely push up for about 191. It is currently at 190 at the time I'm recording this. 191.7 is going to be my target. I think it could get very close to that. It may even break that high. If it breaks 191.7, we're going to be watching this thing get very close to this 192 to 192.5 area. So right here, we also have this unfilled gap around this 190. I think this is 192. 191 actually. No, we actually filled that gap. Sorry about that. But 192.67 is going to be the next target. So if it does continue to break out, I think the odds favor it getting very close to this high. And I think Apple's going to try to break for 192 at this point, at least all the way up there. We're currently around 190, so that's where I'm leaning towards on Aapl. For the triple Q, this is once again looking resilient. It just hit 376, breaking that resistance. We're going to be watching this thing retest 377.5. If it breaks that, it could be well on its way to get very close to 380. It's very, very possible for the triple Q to get there. But what happened yesterday was it pumped a bit, came down, then continued to move. So we might see something very similar. It may pump to about 378 to 380, then reject and trade a little sideways as the day goes on. But I still think it could get very close to 380. Microsoft is holding up nicely. It's up about 1.9% as well. Retesting 340. This is what we predicted yesterday. I think if it breaks that, we're going to be watching 341.65 and potentially 342.5. That zone right there is where I think Microsoft is going to pump to, and then we might see some sideways action after that. For Nvda, same thing. This thing is currently at 444. I mean, if it keeps going now, because we are showing signs that the bullish case is still playing out, despite this negative divergence that was present on it, we could see Nvidia go for at least 450 again. 450 is going to be a target on Nvidia. And after that, I mean, if it continues to break above that, then that's going to be a very, very good sign for it. It could even get a little bit higher. But just to be safe, be very cautious with it. It's currently at 444 for now. I do believe if it breaks the high it made at 447, we're going to be watching 450 very, very carefully. But there's also this gap down below, so it might pump up and then start dropping a little bit and make its way back down to like 441 and just continue from there. But not a whole lot's going on. For Meta, I told you guys yesterday that it was looking a little bit weak, looking at the technicals, but now it is starting to continue to pump despite that. Now, I got a nice pump in the pre-market, but there's this big gap that formed all the way down to 309. We might see this thing pop and then start dropping to about 309, but still try to hold up for the time being. It's not going to drop super hard for now, but it could see a little bit of downside to fill this gap as of right now. Now, that's the direction I'm leaning in, as we do still have this bearish divergence that's present. I just want you guys to be aware of that. And with that said, I think I went over the majority of these. Please be ready, guys. It's going to be an interesting day. And don't forget that so far the data has been quite mixed. So we could still see the market hold up. The market is still looking quite positive and resilient. SPY's at 447. Going to be watching to see if this thing can break 448. If it does, so watch 450 on SPY. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. Have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Watch your indicators very carefully, and I will most definitely see you guys in the next video. I also want to add that we have lots of big bank earnings coming out for tomorrow. So if you are planning on holding options overnight, be very careful because the banks will affect how the market ends up moving. It's going to be huge, so just be ready and do what you have to do. Don't forget to always watch your indicators and to hunt and not chase for those opportunities. Hunt and do not chase once again. All right, thank you. Mark you to the moon. The long term is very bright, and peace out.